Hello, and welcome to The Fool and the Philosopher.
The Philosopher and the Fool.
World War III, right? I don't think it's possible.
Why not?
Because basically around World War II, we started seeing that world wars were, going obsolete. Like, infantry-wise, like, tanks were definitely taking over, and planes, and boats, and artillery were basically replacing infantry. And now, with our military technology, we've got, like, drones and really powerful fireplanes, and there's not much point for putting troops on the ground in war, unless you want to avoid civilian casualties. That's, like, why you have ground troops now, I think, is to reduce casualties, and in an all-out war, that might be slightly disregarded. And even then, world war is like the whole country's population becoming soldiers and going fighting the other country's population that are soldiers, right? Whereas I think now, just the way that people are, like the First World War, people are like, oh, we have to go fight because it's what's right for our country, it's our duty, and like they didn't really understand war in World War I all that much. And then World War II, it was, oh man, we have to fight to stop this thing, and this is all we can do is just send ourselves as soldiers. But now we're like, we don't need to fight. We've got a military, and we've got the standing military that's pretty good, and we've got these drones, so we don't need to go fight. So I think it more like a world skirmish than a world war.
Yeah, or we'll have like nukes everywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that makes sense, what you said.
Yeah, it wouldn't so much be a war, it would more be like a very violent fight that can happen basically almost instantly, considering the speed of jets and drones.
And missiles.
Yeah.
Civil wars could be pretty big, though.
Yeah. Well, a civil war is, again, you're trying to control the population, so it's you don't want to wipe everything out.
We were just talking about the divisiveness of the polarization of the world.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it exists or not, because there's a tendency to think your times are the most important or the most unusual.
Yeah.
And it may be true. We might get more and more unusual as history progresses. So it might always be true.
I think the world's been pretty weird for a pretty long time.
I think we've talked about it before. The internet allows you to find all the other weirdos that think like you.
Yeah.
And then you listen to them instead of the people around you. And it
makes it so you
see enemies in your countrymen.
Yeah, well, it also makes it so, I don't know, it concentrates you. Like, if you have a town full of people who are, let's say, of different political leanings, then they all talk with each other, and they might have disagreements, but they sort of slurry down with each other. But with the internet, you don't need to slurry down with your townsfolk. You can just go and find other people and be like a concentrate. And so you can socialize through the internet, so you don't really need to be with your townsfolk. Or even like the small family that's a little bit weird, like the Joneses. They don't even need to communicate with everyone else in the neighborhood anymore. Like, they can go and have their online group that they talk to. Or even just travel-wise, they can travel out of town.
You are listening to The Fool and the Philosopher.
Certainly lends to divisiveness.
Yeah.
Now, would people before actually talk to their neighbors, or just isolation, like be in isolation?
I think that people need a certain amount of socialization, or they go insane.
Did I ever tell you about those two books? One talks about how all bad things are blamed on the Jews, and the other one talks about how all good things are claimed to have come from the Far East.
No.
So it'll be like there is moral decay in society. It's the Jews' fault. They're only concerned with money or something. Or there's moral decay. They're only concerned with pushing the bottom line. Or it could, but then it'll be something like the Jews are so uptight. They're causing society to stagnate. We need to, like, throughout history, the Jews in the West, in what's called the Western Hemisphere,
Yeah.
have been, I don't even know if it's called that, but they've been,
It's called the West.
yeah, in the West, have been blamed for all bad things. So, like whatever is wrong with society, if society has an ill, to discover what it is, look at what the Jews are getting blamed for at the time. And it could be even something that they're previously blamed for the opposite thing. But for some reason, the Jews are always just doing what's worst at the time. Or they're actually getting blamed for it anyways. At the same time,
It's the price of being God's people.
the new, like, good thing, like, meditation or focusing on a healthy populace instead of curing diseases, like stopping diseases, preventative medicine.
Yeah.
Or
Cure for Black Plague was invented in the East.
maybe not that, like not stuff that's actually like
Ah.
accurate, but things that all good things, like you should be
Oh, like they're grains then. Like these super grains.
yeah, superfoods, or like you should be kind to your neighbors, or we are all one with the universe, or reality is an illusion. Those are all Eastern ideas. So whatever's like the new cool hip thing was invented by some Tibetan monks.
Yeah. I never thought of it like that.
And yeah, it's just
Well, it's like forever with the East though. Like yoga's from the East, and it was a thing that came.
it's been for hundreds of years. It's always been like this from the East, tea from the East, or this wise man from the East, or this. But my point with that is we can blame low attention span, isolationism, groupthink, all those things on the internet. But the internet might not be to blame.
Might be exacerbating them.
It might be, but it might not be at all. It could just be that we have flaws as humans, and they are reflected in the internet, and so we blame it for the problems, when the problems is not the internet, it's ourselves. And the argument is that the internet exacerbates them, like you said, really.
Yeah. Well, it's a tool, and you can use tools anyway, right?
But it might not even be causing more of an issue. It might just be the thing that we blame. Like, it could have been, before the internet, it could have been television is causing the decay of society, and then
Well, it was.
before that it was writing, and before that it was
Plays. Then it was writing.
farming, and
Yeah.
people aren't hunter-gatherers anymore. They're building communities, and they think of everyone as outsiders, and they don't let strangers come into their communities
They're
anymore.
domesticating cats to defend their rice, and wheat.
They're introducing evil into their lives.
Yeah.
So it's always
They're not staying in the trees. They're walking about they're not walking about all fours, and they're not in the trees anymore.
it could just be the latest thing. It does feel special though, but it probably always does, and they might always have a point.
Well, Aristotle, was it Aristotle? No, not Aristotle.
Depends what you're talking about.
The guy in Athens who hated writing.
Socrates.
Socrates complained about people not having memory anymore.
That was one of his complaints, but he had a bigger complaint, which I think we've talked about before, which is that you can't talk to a book.
Yeah.
So
But I mean, both of them are true. Like, it's both true points.
it's the same as this podcast. We can say things, and we could be totally wrong, and it can be very frustrating to listen to how wrong we are, and you can't communicate with us. Except the nice thing about the podcast is you can actually leave a comment on the video currently.
Yeah.
YouTube being what it is, we'll see.
Yeah.
It's well, they don't defend their creators at all.
Yeah.
They just want to be the new cable television, and they're working their way towards it. So we'll see. Something might replace it.
You are listening to The Fool and the Philosopher.
Yeah. So writing. So you can comment on our videos, but I wonder about texting. We'll call it all texting, Facebook messages, writing, and YouTube comments, all of that. I do not like my phone, and I don't know what to do about it, because I can get rid of it, but there are times when it has been very useful to have. But I don't think it's good for me. And it's not like I'm addicted to the phone sort of thing. It somehow affects my mental health. And not through me constantly using it, but through it stressing me out because it's a way for people to contact me at all times. But also, the texting, or the writing in general, is a way for people to talk inside your head. Because when you read, you bring the words into your head. And so you can't ignore them. If someone says something negative to you, you are saying something negative to yourself. You are thinking bad thoughts about yourself. Like, I have had a lot of, like, mental problems, minor or major. I don't know what you would classify them as. But I think a great progression in them is I went from hating myself and having a lot of anger directed towards myself to hating everyone else. And I think that's a huge improvement. I get really annoyed by a lot of things, and I don't like most things people do. But I think that's a really big improvement over hating myself. And when you read texts, it goes into your head, and it's so let's say something not negative. Let's say a friend asks me if I want to do something. Would you like to go to the park or something? Yeah. Now, I don't want to go to the park. It's really cold, as you said earlier. But I have thought, do you want to go to the park, to myself, which means there is a part of me that thinks, well, then there's a part of you that wants to go to the park. So I get an internal conflict of, obviously I don't want to do something, but because I have thought it myself, I think maybe I do, and maybe I'm just wimping out, or I shouldn't be so isolationist, I shouldn't be so antisocial, and so I should go to the park. So whenever people text me or send me messages, it isn't good for me. And the best thing to do, I think, is to use phones just for pure information transfer. Like, we will do this then, let's go here. We'll do this then, we'll do this then. I think that's the best way to do things. Like, we want to arrange a party, but even then, like, that's invitations, which don't work with me super well. But that's more my fault than anyone else's. Yeah. But conversations through texting, that's asking for a whole world of trouble. You're imagining the person in your mind, which means not only do you have to think of the facial expressions of the people you're talking to and the way they say everything, the tone of voice, all of that. You have to make that all yourself. But it's also in your head, which means it's true. So if you think someone has said something in a way that's, let's say, a little snide, then they are a snide person, and it is true that they did that. And any denial they make towards that is them lying, because they did it. It was real. It was in your head. It was the truth. And
it's part of the reasons why I don't like texting is I'm incredibly careful when typing, because if I spell poorly, I sound like an idiot. And also, it's hard for me to spell well, and I want to write things out like carefully because I can't have any facial expressions or dress it. So it's like it takes me a very long time to write anything out. It's part of the reason why I avoid it. So I don't text with people all that much, besides what you said of pure information transfer, which annoys some people.
And then you sound very abrupt.
Yeah.
And you seem like you don't like the people or care about them.
Yeah, I'm just writing straightforward like a robot, though.
I think texting has also caused some issues in interaction, like you're saying, because you appear like an idiot or terse.
Yeah.
So when people meet you in person, they get either their beliefs confirmed or they get conflicting messages, and it confuses them. Yeah. And now in a case where someone being an idiot or not, you just average it out, or them being terse or not, you can average it out.
Yeah.
But there are some situations where you can have relationships on the line. So let's say friendship or romantic. So let's give a romantic example, for example. Okay, so let's say you text someone and you say, do you want to go for a hike? You write that.
Yeah.
And they're like, no. And you're like, oh, okay, wow, I guess I misread that. They don't want to go for a hike. Okay, fair enough, whatever. And then you meet them and they're smiling. They're like, oh, it's so good to see you. And you're like, what the? And then you send them a message later and you're like, you want to go to a movie? And they're like, yeah, sure. And with an exclamation mark. And you go, oh, they're really into it. Mm-hmm. And then they're like, oh, yeah, that was an okay movie. And you're like, oh, that's weird. And then they're like, oh, thanks for coming out. And you're like, oh. And then they send you a text. And you get this like, wait, what is this person's opinion of me? What is... Well... And so I don't think it's good to use that. And this might sound to a lot of people like really like, man, you're bad with people. like geez, you should just ask them straight up. And it could be, maybe it is just me, but I think there is the potential there. So you have to, at the very least, if I'm the only one making the mistake, that's great, but be on the lookout for it, I guess.
Well, a weird thing is the guy was basically asking for help with his car because he got stuck. And, like, at the end of every sentence, he had an exclamation mark. And it's like, he does not speak with exclamation marks.
Yeah.
Like, it was weird. It's like, he doesn't speak like that. Why is he putting exclamation marks? Like, there's no point for them to be there. Or talking about, I'm stranded, can you help me with my car?
I think it's because you try to sound excited and you try to sound like, oh, it's who you imagine yourself to be. I'm that excited person that like is like all upbeat about everything and oh, thanks, buddy. Oh, great. Oh, cool. And it's much easier to write yourself in a way you like than not. In Infinite Jest by David Foster Wallace, there's a book written in I believe the 80s. There's phone technology that's improved so you can do face, like 3D images of your face when you communicate with people. And so people start doing that, but then they start getting anxious because they don't want to answer the phone if they've just gotten out of bed or if they haven't done their makeup or they haven't combed their hair or they haven't showered. So they don't want to answer the phone. So what phone companies do to prevent that is they let you make a standardized model of your features that's like you looking your best. But then companies start selling like, well, this looks like your best, but your nose is still a little crooked, so we could like give you a straighter nose or something. So people start doing that. And so they all start looking like supermodels on the phone. So then they stop like meeting each other in person because they don't want people to realize what they actually look like. And eventually phones just go back to just being voice only because nobody wants to, because people start like covering their projectors with bags and stuff or like hiding it because they don't want anyone. And it causes this whole, like, people have this perfected image of themselves, and so they don't want to interact with humanity because then they would see the lie for what it is. People say David Foster Wallace predicted social media before it came ahead. And I think, in a way, they're right, but it's because he didn't predict the technology correctly.
He predicted people.
But he predicted people. He predicted that people want to communicate with each other, and
if they can look good, they will try to look good.
Yeah, it's like if you're writing, you read letters between, I don't know, let's say like Darwin writes a letter to Bach or something. I don't even know if that's the right time period, but they're writing letters back and forth, and you're like, these guys are brilliant, but you don't see them like on the toilet with like a particularly bad one where they have to get like 8 reams of toilet paper to really clean it out, or you don't see them like yelling at their wife or or having a bad day, having a headache.
Even their letter, you don't see the pile of crumpled ones and scratched down until they get the perfect draft.
Yeah. So there's a lot of if you can build your perfect self, you're going to do it basically.
Yeah.
And then there's probably going to be some like little like hipster cult that tries to show their most authentic self and they're just weirdos and
gross.
And they probably take it too extreme because then they don't allow for self-improvement because they're not being authentic.
Yeah, they revel in their own misery.
I've been on the edge a lot about, not on the edge like I'm crazy. I am on the fence, let's use that term. Mm-hmm. I'm on the fence about
being a hipster?
No, about being true to yourself. So there's I think our mom says it a lot. Like, if you understand yourself, then you can accept yourself.
Yeah.
And then, like, you can be like, look, I get angry when people are messy in the kitchen, let's say.
Yeah.
So that's part of myself. I can accept that. So I just need to... And once you accept it, you can just, okay, I'm going to stay out of the kitchen for now. Or you can be like, okay, I feel angry. I just won't talk to them until I've calmed down. It's fine. Mm-hmm. And if you do that, it actually does really, like... It's a great way to deal with extreme emotions. You really calm down very quickly. On the other hand, it is possible to change. Like, it's very hard, but you could also change to be more of a person who doesn't get angry when they're in the kitchen. And I don't think you can do that. This is a mistake I made for years, I think. Although I'm not certain. Of trying to... When someone, let's say, makes a mess in the kitchen. This isn't actually something that makes me super angry, but when someone makes a mess in the kitchen... You go like, oh, well, that's okay, that's fine, through gritted teeth, and you try to suppress your true self. I don't think that works. But what does work is you go, okay, I don't like it when people make a mess in the kitchen, but that's not really the core of the issue. The issue is people don't seem to care about the environment or something, or around, like their environment around them. Or, that's not even the issue. entirely. The issue is that I'm on a hair trigger, so I need to find a way to calm down overall in my life. And it's like, well, that really annoying beeping sound that I have like playing in my ear 24/7, maybe I should turn that device off.
Yeah.
And take out the annoying beeping device I have in my ear. And suddenly I am way more tolerant of stuff. An example from a week ago was I was getting really annoyed at you while I was playing The Witcher because you kept talking to me during cutscenes. You're like, "What's the story like?" And I'm like, "I don't know. He's talking to me." And like when I was having this really bad day when I first was going to play The Witcher. Really bad, really stressful. Got everything done. I was like, okay, I only have like an hour and a half I can do stuff in, but that's fine. I'm just going to relax. I'm going to play The Witcher. Settle down on the couch. Oh, okay. Turn it on. Opening cutscene. I'm like, yeah, here we go. And then you like drive up to the house out of nowhere, come in like, here's a bunch of garbage for you to deal with while people are taunting you for having a mess in the house. And how are you liking The Witcher? And it's, well, I can't hear the opening cutscene because you're talking and you dropped off a bunch of stuff and like you're ruining my experience and my day. And I had a really bad day that day actually. But I had to leave the house and just go to friends and just hide there basically. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, and then a week ago, same thing was happening with The Witcher, where I was like trying to play and I was ruining it, trying to listen to it, and I yelled at you or something like, I can't play The Witcher while other people are. No, I didn't. I just stopped playing, and because I didn't want to take my anger out on you. And then you're like, why'd you stop? And it's like, because I can't play when other people are around. So I don't think I took out my anger on you entirely.
I still whimpered and hit.
I just was saying why because you asked because you want to be flogged or something. I don't know. You have like some sort of self-hatred complex because
no,
obviously my eyes are twitching. You don't want to ask me questions like that. It's like you want to know that I hate you or something. You want proof that I hate you, and you're just asking for punishment. It was a leading question, and I tried to, because how was I supposed to answer that in a kind way? Huh? I didn't have an answer. So, anyways,
then I realized it's such a loaded question. I just asked, why did you stop playing The Witcher?
The next day, I didn't have a headache. And I had a good, large, hearty breakfast. And I was playing The Witcher and talking to you and having a great time. So the problem wasn't that I can't play The Witcher when people are around and that Connor finds a moment to always... It's that I was way too stressed and the slightest thing was sending me over the edge.
Yeah.
Now, would I have preferred that I didn't get those little things? Maybe, but the day where I was like relaxed and playing The Witcher and talking to Connor was even better than just playing The Witcher on my own, huddled in like a little closet or something. So... The point of it is, there's often deeper issues than just these little surface things.
Yeah. Well, like, for me, there's a common problem that's been with me throughout, I don't know, basically since high school, which you guys had a problem with, which is me staying up really late. And you guys, he's making too much noise, and so I try to be quieter or whatever. And I finally figure out why I do that. Like, why I stay up late and stay up in the evening. It's like, I was thinking recently, like, I should stop using the computer in the evening because it's better for you. And I've noticed that, like, you get better sleep, it's easier. It's like, but then I won't be able to do as much stuff when I have a time that's guaranteed to have no one disrupt me.
Yeah, and that's why it's really nice to have a place of your own.
Yeah, but it was sort of the feeling is like, I have this guaranteed time in the evening, which is like, I'm going to bed. I could say that. Then I can go into my room and just do what I want to do without the risk of being disturbed. Or like, could you go do this for me? Or, hey, let's talk for a bit. Or even just getting calls like, why is that car plugged in?
Yeah, and I think a lot of... Actually, so let's go to that example. Yeah. Because I thought that, look, you're 20. I'm 24.
Yeah.
Get out of the house already, both of us, especially me. You all give like a bit of leniency, but me especially. And I really want to. Just mental issues and job market and housing prices.
Yeah.
But mostly mental issues.
Yeah.
But looking for work now, things looking up maybe. We'll see. I don't know. Yeah. Anyways.
You are listening to The Fool and the Philosopher.
Because I have this idea... about a few months before New Year's, which was, like, for a really long time, like, when you're a kid, you're basically asleep. It's like you're in a dream, almost, some ways. And then I think a lot of time, like, you're partly awake, you're partly asleep. Like, that's just a lot of people's lives. I was like, I want to try being awake. Because there's that speech. I can't remember who said it, but it's very famous. The guy's like, "Who are you?" Like, you're knocking on the door. It's like, "Who are you? You're everyone," or whatever. Damn, I'm ruining it because I can't remember who it is. But it's basically a guy saying like, we're all dreaming and we should wake up, and when you're awake, life's a lot better.
Probably an Eastern philosophy.
No, the guy was very Western.
Sounds like a snake oil salesman to me.
Well, I'm just going through the world awake though instead of asleep. Like, what I mean by that is, in a dream, how you're sort of not making your own choices. Like, the dreams happen to you.
So you're talking about taking responsibility, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I feel like getting a proper sleep schedule is partly taking responsibility. Instead of just being to the whims of, oh, I want to stay up late, and then I wake up and I'm tired and I like to sleep a bunch. And
yeah, I wouldn't say I've been tired most of my life. I think I've been fairly well rested for a lot of it. The last 7 years I was very tired, but or not last year, but before that, so those last 6 years or something, I was tired most of the time. But for most of my life, I think I haven't been. So
yeah.
But I feel like I've been trapped since I was 14 or something. When I was 14, I didn't understand how people got a job and moved out, and nobody would explain it to me, and they just told me I had to do it, and I had to choose a job, and I was like, how do you choose all this? And 10 years later, I still don't know, and I feel like I'm trapped, and it's very, I think that's the major cause of my anxiety in my life, is this constant is there actually an answer, or am I just going to be a loser forever? I feel I'm spinning the circles forever, because I've applied to 40, 50 jobs, and not none of them, and apply to 100 publishers, and none of them pick up the book, and I've it's just nothing ever gains traction, and I feel like I'm just stuck, and I just don't see a way out.
Well,
so it gets to me sometimes.
I don't know if this will make you feel better or not, but in Scotland, it's very common for families to still be living together. Yeah. Because housing is just impossible there. It's not worth it to buy a house, so they just live in family homes.
Yeah, I think the issue was I made a terrible, terrible mistake throughout my entire life until I was, 20, 21, something like that. I listened to adults. And
you never had any fun.
I think it was one of the worst decisions I ever made. Because they told me, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. And then I did all those things. And then they still talk about how, these problem children, and how, they got into all this mischief, and the advice didn't work, and I listened to you, and you didn't credit me for it at all, and it makes me sad and angry.
And I didn't get to have fun for the naughty things that I get blamed for.
Yeah. And I also think those naughty things, as you call them, staying up too late, going driving with your friends, whatever it might be, aren't bad. I think they're necessary. I think they're good. And I was stilted in my growth. And there's just a lot of there's you have to find a job. And so I listened to them. You have to find a job. You have to know what you want to do. They say that, and you're okay, I have to do that. But nobody does that in life. They just bumble along, and then you can go to school for something, and a degree isn't the end of the world. It only takes a couple years, and you can transfer from there. What they should tell kids is, all right, after school, you can just take a bit of time off if possible to think about stuff. You can go to work right away to get some money, or you can go to school, and if you have something you kind of like, or not even something you like, because that was my problem. I was looking for something I like. If there's something you're good at, get a degree in it, and then it doesn't matter what the degree is. You can just get a degree at something you're good at. Because the thing I like is the thing I'm worst at. It's writing. I like writing, and I'm terrible at it compared to if I had done what I'm good at, I would be in psychology, or I'd be in math. Those are what I'm good at. And I should have done that. I should have just gone to school for psychology. I'd be a PhD by now. And I would I'm good at doing homework, and it's 7 years. I would be a PhD by now, or I'd be a PhD by like this spring.
Yeah.
And I could have done that. It wouldn't have been hard for me, and I would have had a PhD, and then I could. It doesn't matter. It's like, oh, you know what? I want to do like this environmental thing. Well, I would have had a minors probably too, based on what I was doing. And it's like, okay, well, you can. We'll take you on because you only have a minors environment, but you have a PhD.
Yeah.
Or it's like, oh, actually, you know what? I think I want to just. I actually really like the idea of waiting tables. I like the interacting with people, the talking to the cook. That seems really fun. It's like, well, you got a PhD if you want. You're hired. Like, or it doesn't. But it's not even the degree. It's like, because I really think degrees are overblown. But it's just instead of being in a panic it doesn't matter if you get a degree or not. It's the fact that you don't feel stressed out and panicked about not having one or not.
Yeah.
It's like they should have just said, look, go to school, do what you're good at, unless there's something you're super passionate about.
Yeah.
Or third option, just go to work straight away. And you don't have to worry. Like, you can get a degree like when you're and like I can never do my dreams. And then I was thinking recently, like, look, if I have a full-time job, it's not much work to, like, let's say I want to write. I can write a page. A page a day. That takes me like 15 minutes, 20 minutes. I can record, let's say, a YouTube video. I want to do that. That takes me like an hour out of my day. I can edit stuff. That takes another hour. Like, that isn't hard with doing a full-time job and it's relaxing because you go to work, you do your work, you come home, you sit back, you do it. You don't have to stress about this stuff.
Yeah.
And I stressed about it since I was like 14 because nobody told me what to do. And no, people did tell me what to do, and I listened. Yeah. That was the problem. I should have just been like, you're stupid. I'm going to go and do what I want. I'm going to do what's easy and coast. And I would have been so much happier.
You are listening to The Fool and the Philosopher.
The only thing is that I think all these problems, the one benefit I can reap from it, I guess, is the schools are getting weird and crazy and messed up, and I don't think I would have liked them. I think I would have been confused by them, and I wouldn't understand why they were the way they were, but I don't think I would have had the tools to help me, and I don't know what the end result of that would be. Because I had to confront a lot of stuff because of the path I took. Because I dropped out of school. I had to figure out and confront a lot of things. And I might have taken the worst path, but it could have been going for the PhD. First year, let's say, would have been rough, and then it would have been like, oh, we're out of that, and now we're making friends at school, and everything's going good, and I'm having a great time. But I might have become like a intellectual sort of like you know what I'm talking about? And that wouldn't have lasted. I don't think I could have survived as an intellectual, because I would have just gone into teaching at a university or something, or I would have become Now, the one thing about psychology is I think it is the most removed from the school thing you can get, or something. I don't know what to call it. It's like
In physics, you have to basically be a teacher.
Yeah, psychology is more than that. I think psychologists tend to be fairly sane people. So I think like computer programming is another one.
Yeah.
But even sciences tend to be like sort of intellectuals.
Yeah.
But I think psychologists and like computer programmers, tradespeople, they're a lot more down to earth. And I'm a more down to earth person, but I would have been in this. Okay, I'm not. I am like an intellectual, like pansy boy, but that's compared to the people I know. Compared to like schools, I am like the roughest, toughest thing around, right? Which isn't saying much.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any images of me on this, but I'm like, I'm not entirely scrawny, but I'm not like.
So, like the people he hangs out with, you know those like elbow noodles? What are those called? Like macaroni noodles?
Okay.
Those are the people you hang out with, right?
Okay.
You're like a good wholesome like piece of spaghetti.
Right.
So the people in the universities are like that rice spaghetti that's all transparent and thin and wobbly.
Yeah.
And it's like you can just
Okay, yeah, I see where
grab
you're
it
going
and tear
with.
apart. It's all sticky and stuff.
I hang out with like those curly, like like those like hardcore noodles.
Yeah.
I hang out with like wheat squares.
The strolly.
I'm like a Cheerio. The people I hang out with are like wheat grain. What are those things called?
Those blocks of hay that you
those
basically
blocks of
drop in
hay.
your cereal.
And the people at universities are like Fruit Loops. And I'm like a Cheerio. So
They're cornflakes.
so it's like anyways, if I had been like a psychologist, maybe I could have just like started up a practice and been okay.
Yeah.
But I think there would have been a lot of inconsistencies I would have had to deal with, and maybe that would have been good, because I don't know if you've noticed, not you, but the microphone. I'm not sure who, but yeah, Sebastian. I don't know if you've noticed, because you're the only one that listens to these. But Jordan Peterson would not be famous outside of his school if he hadn't like deviated from it. So if I had these problems with the schools, I probably would have gotten into some sort of trouble, and then I would have been like Lindsay Shepherd or someone, and then that's not necessarily a bad thing. You can start a career off being a Lindsay Shepherd. Like you get enough people to hate you, and you become like, or you get enough people to care about you, and you can just springboard off of that and sell your t-shirts or whatever.
Yeah.
Like have you noticed Jordan Peterson on like everything talks about his like psychological assessment website, and he's like, go to this website, or like do my future authoring program for $40 or whatever. Like he knows what he's doing. He's making money. He's making bank. He's writing books that sell millions of copies.
Well, it's like Toll Biscuits would always say is like, take the idea, make a YouTube video of it, get 1 million views.
Like if someone's like, Hatred, the video game, people are in uproar about it. That's the only reason it sold as well as it did. Because people are like, what's the big deal? Let's look at this game. So maybe it would have been better for me to go that route, but I don't know. I just feel like I've wasted 7 years of my life, and it's not a nice feeling. But on the other hand, maybe it was like building groundwork for what's to come, because I would have just collapsed or like jumped off a bridge or something. Who knows? Like, unless like if there's water at the bottom, I wouldn't want to like get hurt. You could hurt yourself jumping off a bridge.
Yeah.
Like, no, honestly, like my preferred suicide method, right, is you go hiking without a backpack, because like backpacking is really annoying, but hiking's great. So if you're gonna die, you might as well take advantage of it and just
starve to death.
Yeah, or freeze to death or something. But like if you don't care about your life, you can backpack without a heavy weight on your back, and you can go way further. Just go in a straight line. It's way more comfortable and better.
Okay.
Like, think about it.
Search and rescue is getting added to speed dial.
But think about it, right? If you're suicidal, you might as well like try to tightrope across like the Grand Canyon or something, like without a harness. Like, why not take advantage of the hatred, the self-loathing, or the not caring about the world?
Take advantage of your self-destructiveness?
Yeah, like instead of killing yourself, do something productive. I mean, you don't want to because you're depressed, and that's the whole... If you could do something productive, you wouldn't be depressed in the first place, really.
Yeah.
But if there's something you enjoy and you have that tiny bit of spark in you, at least go and do that. Like, go skydiving without a parachute, or swim across the Atlantic, or, just do something.
Or seek help. Just talk to someone. Change your diet.
I don't know, like, seek help is... That's like that advice with, like, you need to know what you want to do. Like, what does seek help mean? That's useless, right? Like, a seek help, what am I supposed to do? Like, oh, what does that mean? I don't want to talk to anyone. They'll think I'm a loser, and I'll make my situation worse, or I don't have anyone in my life, or...
Call suicide prevention, then?
Yeah, and they're like, please wait. Oh, we don't... Yes, we're... I don't know. It's... What kind of loser calls suicide prevention? Like, you know what I mean? Maybe not, but I've called those helplines, right? It's like the most humiliating thing ever.
Or write a list of 10 things you're grateful for?
And no, you can't write a list of one thing you're grateful for. If you had that kind of energy, you wouldn't be depressed. Like, there is no reason to live. That's why you can't live. You can't... Your life is hopeless, and there's no way out. Like, there's no way you're ever going to get better. Life is meaningless. and there's no light at the end of the tunnel, and that is depression. There's nothing. There's no reason to stay alive. You write a list of I was grateful. If I had that kind of motivation, I wouldn't be depressed. I'd be doing stuff. No, but the reason I'm depressed is because I can't do anything, and because there is no light at the end of the tunnel. And so you phone these people and you feel embarrassed, and they talk to you over the line, and they're like, well, maybe you should talk to a counselor or something. Do you have anything near you? And you're like, I don't have the money for that. And they're like, well, there's programs that can help you maybe. And it's like, if I can, like, do you want me to be the one that goes online and looks at these programs and applies to whatever grant? And like, that's way too much work. I'd rather just like curl up in a couch and die. Like, it's too hard.
Well, that sounds shitty.
Yeah. There's a reason. There's a reason why people kill themselves. It's not because they had a bad day and like their hair doesn't look on fleek or whatever. It's like because there is a miserable life with no path out. And the only and so any of the advice is just like, oh yeah, well you need like so here's the advice, right? Buy a bunch of paper plates, and then when you're eating, you don't have to do dishes. You can just throw them out, if it's on a bad day. Buy a bunch of canned soup. That way you can just crack it open and drink it cold if you need to, instead of having to cook something or find something to buy. If just hold on for no reason. Just because like go to sleep or something. Like things look better in like your mood is totally influenced by what you've eaten and where you and like how much sleep you've had. So just I don't know, hold on. The one thing, like, if you can go to a counselor, go to them, but don't like phone. Just like walk into the office and like say I need help, and then like or like ask for a meeting. If like you can phone them if that works for you, but honest for me, it's like just go in there and be like, hey, do you got someone? And then you have to wait for like 2 hours, and then they or like several days. But then like because here's the thing about counselors, right? TV has this horrible thing where it's like, tell me how you feel or something. You can't do that. You don't know how you feel. If you know how you feel, you can fix stuff. Counselors, good ones, and most of them are good. They're just like, they're basically like, hey, champ, what's going on? No, they don't even say that. They just say, hey, champ, hey. It's like, nice weather, eh? Yeah. And then they're like, and then you sit on the couch and you just talk to them about like your favorite sport or whatever. Like that's what counselors actually do if you go to them. Like they can work on fixing you in later stuff or something, or if you're managing anxiety. But like,
To start with, they're establishing trust.
No, they're just really nice people. They're like grandparents you can just go and talk to. Like that's what they are. They're just like, all right, let's just sit down and like talk about. But they don't even do that. They're not leading it or anything. See, it's all shortcuts what you see in movies. But it's more just like it's like a real human with real conversation where you just sit down and you're like, yeah. So what's this go like? And they might be like, why'd you come to me? And you can like talk about it. But really like the guy I went to, right? He was like, so what's the issue? And I was like, well, I don't know. It's just this and this and this. And he's like, well, what's going on? And I was like, and then it's just like, what do you think of the school? It's not working for me. He's like, yeah. Like, very Rogerian psychology where you just repeat back to them what they said sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And then he's just, but even then he was tripping me up because I was expecting that, but he was doing more than that. He was like, he was just like, I don't know. We just sat by the window and like looked out, and then he's like, well, it sounds like you already got a plan. And I was like, I guess I do. And then he's like, all right, you go do that or something. Because I was like, I think I might drop out, but I'm not sure what I'll do. I have to figure out which one, and I think he's like, well, it sounds like you already have a plan, so you figure that out. And it's just like, thanks, man. But I don't know. Like, I might be given huge amounts of horrible misinformation, but my point is, I don't know. It's the advice. There's nothing you can say to help these people, basically, but except that I was there, I survived. You can do the same, and that's it. Like that's all I can think of. Like
personally, I can't relate to this at all.
It's just
like that whole thing about human empathy and like you can imagine that state. I actually can't.
Just it's like, and see it makes you so angry and sad. It's like I wish I wasn't able to imagine it. I wish. I would be like an astronaut president of like all of Africa, the entire continent, if I didn't have depression. It's the only thing holding me back, sort of thing. Like that's how you feel, because it's like, man, I made it this far through life with all these issues, and people can't imagine that. Like you selfish gits. I hate you all.
I actually can't comprehend that, because like what I said, like, come up with something you're grateful for, or just like saying like do these things, is I've always been able to get up and do something unless I'm incredibly ill, but that's because I physically can't do it with my body.
Yeah, okay, so you know how, like, if it's really cold or you're really sick, right? I think you can imagine it. Okay, so imagine, you know when you're really cold or really sick, and it's like, you gotta, like, get a glass of water, and you just, like, can't, and you're just like, I need someone to get me the glass of water.
Yeah.
That's depression.
Okay.
It's like, you can't do anything because the bit of your brain that has to activate doesn't activate. So there is nothing you can do. It's just off. Like, you can stare at, like, the phone that has the helpline on it, let's say, speed dialed in, with a person that you know can cure you because you phoned them before. And you can't move your hand from your chair to your phone because it's just, some synapse needs to fire for that action to take place, and you don't have that synapse. Like, it's like when you're really sick and you just can't do anything.
Well, even then, I found when I'm really sick, like, I'm being able, like, if I know I need to get water, I can power through it.
But the thing about that, right? You're using that to breathe. Like, you've drained your willpower because you're breathing, you're eating, you're done. Now, the thing is, you can sometimes still push through, but it's like, it's not always, and it's hard. It's super hard. I don't know. Like, this might be causing more damage than but it's like, I don't know. But look, here's the thing, right? I said all that, and here I am today on a podcast with, like, Sebastian listening. So you two can make it so far. I mean, and I had good circumstances as well. So, like, hard circumstances, they're looking at me like, if I had been in your situation with your limited depression and your resources, oh, you had all that money saved up in a family to support you, and, like,
I'd be hegemon of Earth.
Yeah, like, and if I didn't have depression, like, I would be inventing the next, like, warp drive. Like, so, I don't know, man. I don't know what to do for you. Just, like, jeez.
Wow.
Sucks, dude.
Yeah.
And that's, I don't know, that seems really mean. I don't know. But it's, at the same time, it just does. It does suck. It sucks, dude.
Yeah.
It really sucks. It's awful. I don't know why it happens. I think it's partly because I listen to see, one thing I used to do when I had huge issues is, I don't know if I was right about, like, why I had the issues, but it'd be like, oh, I listened to my parents. That was a big mistake. So, you know, you write, like, some angry letter or something. That might help. But anger.
You wrote angsty letters?
No, angry. If you can get anger, you've got a foundation. Try to get angry about something. It's not always possible, but if you can get angry about something, at least you have, like, a start, right? But of course, because you know what sadness is? Sadness is anger turned inward. That's what it is. You're angry at someone, but you don't think it's fair, so you're angry at yourself.
So stop being angry at yourself and turn it against someone else.
Yeah, yeah, that's probably what, you know what? I think there's a lot of, that's probably, like, the divisiveness we're talking about. There's a lot of angry people out there. And the only reason, and, like, I don't think anger is healthy, right? But it's better than depression. So there's a lot of these people out there that have mental issues. And so the only way that they can feel, like, okay is to have righteous anger about something. The problem with righteous anger is it's addictive, right? Like, you just keep doing it. So I don't think it's I don't think it's sustainable, and I don't think it's healthy, and I think it can lead to worse depression. But if that's all you have in the moment, then take it, I guess. But then, so what I would do, right? Angry letters, maybe notwithstanding, is I'd be like, no one can tell me what to do. So I'd flip my couch around to face the wall, like, push it right up against the wall, and then sit on the couch and stare at the wall, because nobody says you can do that. Or I would, like, move my TV on top of the dresser by my bed, my computer there, and use the computer there instead of at my desk. Or I'd throw my pen at the wall, and it was like, this is going to put a mark on the wall. I don't care. Like, just, it probably gets you kicked out. But I don't know. Like, I'm giving, like, I don't know. I can't give advice on this. I can't. There's people that can. I'm not one of them. But it's just, man, it's just mental illness, eh? It's crazy stuff.
You are listening to The Fool and the Philosopher.
A lot of times, like, you're saying, oh, I could have done all this stuff, like, if I overcome my depression.
Yeah.
A lot of times it becomes people's goal to overcome their mental illness or, like, their identity problem as well, like, to overcome that. They put all their effort into it, then when they finally overcome it, things will be better.
But then they have to deal with the same amount of life everyone else has.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here's, like, when I was little, right? I thought if I had like unlimited access to a computer, I could make like I would learn how to code, make whatever computer games I wanted. If I had a proper drawing pencil, I could like draw stuff. If I had a drawing tablet, I could do this. If I had a recorder, I would make so many videos. If Connor, you had the video recorder and sound recorder on your phone, I was like, I'd make so many podcasts and stuff. And then I have all that equipment now, and I don't do any of that stuff. Like. People are lazy, I guess, or I'm lazy anyways.
Yeah.
It's like, but you see, but I still have like,
But if you had it when you were younger.
I was holding back, but I had to deal with seven years of depression and stuff. So if that hadn't happened, I'd be like the next Notch, right? But or PewDiePie or something. But I couldn't because of the depression. Otherwise, like, he just. But here's the thing you were talking about earlier, responsibility. There was a guy who wanted to kill himself. His name was James Williamson, I think, or something. No, that wasn't his name. Lost his name. Anyways, he wanted to kill himself. And he was very suicidal. This was in the 1800s, early 1900s, somewhere in there. And he decided before he died, he would take advantage because he was suicidal and do an experiment. Like I said, like go out for a hike into the woods. So he decided to start keeping a diary, or he had always kept a diary or something. Yeah. And so he wrote down his experiment in it, and he said, I am going to, for the next year, say that everything that happens to me is my fault, that I'm responsible, or not my fault, but I am responsible for everything that happens to me. What if I thought about it that way? So instead of being like, if I had this, or if I had the luck of this or this, just say, no, it's my responsibility to get this stuff, to do these things, to be in these circumstances. Yeah. Like, I don't know, so-and-so, this actor got a lucky break because he ran into some other actor. And, well, then, if I was that actor, why wasn't I there in that position? Mm-hmm. Like, why wasn't I working the buildings, trying to make connections? Yeah. I'm responsible for everything. I will put the, like, so everything, if I, like, here's an example in my own life. Like you saying, like, you staying up at late, it's annoying, keeps me up. You have the light on. I can't sleep. There's noises. Yeah. What if I instead saying, like, Connor, go to sleep earlier. Connor, be more quiet. Like, really, I can't control you. You can do whatever you want, right? What if instead I, like, block off the bottom of my door, put, like, earmuffs in, like, then I can sleep, right? So I am responsible for everything that happens to me. So that's a solution. And it's like, whoa, instead of relying on other people to change, which is impossible, you like, you take responsibility for everything that happens to you. Even if it's something like someone else being up late and making noise. Yeah. You still take responsibility for that. If it's my problem, not yours, I should deal with it.
So that's being awake in what I was saying is...
Yeah. So this guy did that for 1 year. And he said, okay, I'm going to do this for 1 year. And if at the end of the year, life is still miserable, I'm going to kill myself. Yeah. So that was like the deal he made with himself. Yeah. 1 year later, he became one of the founders of modern psychology. Oh. And because it worked for him, and... Yeah, and he started like this, modern wave of psychology. He might have been like a humanist or something, I'm not sure. But anyways, yeah. So, just because like right now, I could go and record another video for my channel. My computer fan might blare and stuff, but I have a phone that can record stuff on a video. That was once good enough for me. I don't know why I have all the... It's because whatever you have, you tell yourself... Mm-hmm. I could have the next best thing, because as long as you can do that, then you have an excuse to not be doing it. Yeah. But if you want to make like a YouTube video, if you want to be a Let's Player, right, and you don't have a computer, you can draw on a piece of paper and film it with your phone. If you don't have a phone, you can borrow your friends, or you can go to, or like, okay, sometimes there isn't possible, but you could honestly like go to the library, you could review Flash games, filming with like, you could get like, ask the librarian to help you with like, some screen capture stuff on the library computer or something. There's almost always a way, and if you think you've gotten to the end of it, you haven't. Like if you want to do something, you can probably do it. Mm-hmm. And not everyone, but if you're listening to this podcast, you can probably do it. Yeah. If you're like a poor starving child in Antarctica, there's probably not much you can do, right? But
you're in Antarctica.
Yeah. But if you're able to somehow listen to this podcast, okay, another thing. There's a website called No Excuse List. If you don't have a skill, they have a ton of links to like basically every skill for a free resource to how to learn that skill or improve it, or resources to help you, like video capture software, editing software, it's all there. Like, And you don't need to be like perfect. It doesn't have to be the best quality. It can be terrible. But if you're interesting or at least you're passionate and having fun, it doesn't matter. Just do it. And I won't do it. See, like I'm saying do it, but I could right now go and like start some Let's Play channel with like a super loud broken computer fan. But I'm waiting for like the next big thing and like, oh, my parents are around, so I can't do it. But I could huddle up in my room under the covers and like, there's always an option. It's what it's worth to as well. Like,
Yeah.
I think I'd rather wait until I could like focus on it. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong that way. Because I really want to like. There's some stuff I really want to do, but I'm not doing. But also, I have a lot of projects on the go, and I want to like
Not start a million projects and have none complete.
Yeah, because I did that once, and then I've still been working on that since.
You're still working on that list.
Yeah, I've been working on that list for like 4 years, and it's still not done. And so
maybe you should get good scrub.
It's a lot smaller now. I'd say it's 90% smaller. So I went from like, I don't know. Well, I keep adding stuff too because I keep finding more stuff. But it's, it's probably like over 100 things, and I'm down to like 9 or 10 or something.
Keep finding stuff you told yourself to do 4 years ago. Damn it!
Yeah.
This little journal says I have to do this.
Well, and I keep getting added stuff. Like stuff keeps getting added too, right?
Yeah.
Like constantly, like, oh, you have to do this, you have to do this, and I'm getting there. But a lot of the stuff that's left is like hard. It's like get it published for this book, or like finish this book, finish this book, finish this book. Like there's like 4 finish a book. It's a lot of work to write a book. But yeah, it just takes time, I guess.
Yep.
But also, I've started doing a thing which is helping, which is okay. So here, I don't like talking about stuff I do because I feel like it
devalues it.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's this weird like thing. But also, I find when I share stuff with like our mom, for example, like I instantly feel discouraged. So I don't know if it's I don't know what it is. But Dumbledore told me last night that if you're afraid to name a thing, then it becomes it becomes worse than the fear of the thing itself.
I just imagine, like, when you say it, Dumbledore told me last night, and you're sitting in your room, there's, like, a few needles nearby or something, and, like, you're just sitting there, like, all drugged out.
I was reading Harry Potter.
I know, but just the way you said it.
And Harry says, I meant you-know-who, and Voldemort says, Dumbledore says, always name a thing. Otherwise, you make the fear of the thing worse than, like, the fear of the name worse than the fear of the thing itself. So, I like cocaine.
No. And that is why I hallucinate about Dumbledore telling me to tell people that I like cocaine.
No, I so I've been writing like a page a day, and it's not much, but only a page a day, not more, not less. Just a page a day. Because if you write more, then you start dreading it. If you write less, then you don't get anywhere. Page a day, very solid. That's like 365 pages a year. Yeah. That's like a book a year.
Yeah. You could write at the same rate as the Wheel of Time.
Maybe.
Those are 600-page books. They were released every 2 years.
Yeah. So that's pretty steady. I mean, it's a very long series, but yeah. Like it's no Brandon Sanderson. But it's a although it might be, I don't know what he does during the day, because just because I say I only write a page a day doesn't mean I don't edit, I don't look up stuff, I don't do this, because there's a lot of stuff you have to do as a writer. Writing is only part of it. I mean,
there's a lot of stuff you have to do as a writer. Trust me, it's a very difficult process.
Difficult as anything else, but yeah. I don't remember.
Pass me the coffee.
I don't remember where I heard it, but it was like, writer's block. Yeah, that must be so hard to push through. When I have to push through something, I call it doing my job.
Yeah,
I thought it was funny, but yeah, it's. I guess creativity is hard to force, I guess, is the thing. Yeah. But there's a lot more than creativity you can do as a writer.
Yeah, you can steal stuff.
Well, you can do editing, you can do researching, you can do I don't know, margin setting, whatever you need to.
Yeah.
I actually really enjoy the self-publishing thing. It's not going well, but it's but I really enjoy I have to make a cover, and then I have to do this and this. It's very fun to do a bunch of different things, because I've got a bunch of different interests.
Yeah.
Right, it's fun.
Yeah,
and that's what matters, right? It's that I'm having fun. Yeah. That's what matters, right? It matters. That's what matters. That. And anyways, it's not the book I really cared about. I just wrote it to finish it. Yeah. So, the book I cared about, I'm writing still.
Yeah. Oh, the one thing I have to say is don't have any expectations at all.
Yeah. But, I don't know if that works.
No. So, I was going to add to that. Don't have any expectations, right? But if you want something, do aim for it. Like, accept that might not work.
Yeah.
But still aim for it. Like, the whole thing of, like, the visualization, whenever you hear them, like, what the heck they're talking about. Like, don't think about, all the good things that will come of this. Just think, I can do this. Like, it is possible. It's also, it also might not work out, but it's possible. So I can try my damn best to get to it.
Yeah. But you hear a lot of, I do anyways, because of the type of YouTubers I watch. Yeah. But you hear them say, don't do it because you want to be a YouTuber, do it because you love it, sort of thing. Now, I slightly disagree with that, because you can totally do it for wanting money. Like, just do like a kids channel focusing on like animations and try to like write a catchy song and brute force that, like, you know, put out like 100 videos a day on a bunch of different channels. And like,
my channel could be very different if I wanted to do it for being a successful YouTuber.
There's a lot of and I think like you can have the dedication to do something you don't love for years on end.
Yeah.
And if you're making money, a lot of money, then it might be worth it. Even might be worth the trade-off to you.
Yeah.
So I say if you want to make money through it and you see a way to do it, then do it. Sure, go ahead.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, what they're saying is they got successful because they were doing it without pay, and then they just kept doing it when they got pay, and that is a very great way to avoid burnout.
Yeah.
And it is also much more enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
But burnout is a huge risk if you don't just keep to your schedule and doing what you enjoy. But I find when I hear that advice, the issue for me is then you get into the mindset of, oh yes, I'm doing this because I enjoy it, not for the money. You just keep trying to like tell yourself it over and over again. The thing is, I actually enjoy the podcast most of the time because it's just a way for me to like
rant for hour 24.
Yeah, we have to go for another 14 minutes though.
Okay.
Because then your computer will say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay.
For the amount of time left for recording.
Hours.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So it'll say 1,234 hours left and 56 minutes if we go for another 13 minutes.
Ah.
Yeah. I've been waiting for that for days.
Really?
No, just for like a couple, like 10 minutes.
Ah, just when you noticed it?
Yeah. Well, I keep looking at that number, but I never thought we'd get to this day.
But we did, damn it.
And that's why I have to rant a lot about a lot of things.
I don't ever see making money on this.
I think, like, look, here's the thing. My golden rule stuff is really popular compared to our other stuff. I just need to make more of them. But to do that, I need a computer that doesn't scream at me constantly, because editing sound is really annoying with it.
Yeah.
But, so I'm going to start doing that, I think. So I'm not saying we'll make money, but, you know, it'll take off like a rocket engine. And I don't know if it'd be kind of fun. Like, there's some stuff I like doing. I don't think I'd care if this got big, but there's other stuff I'd like to. Like my book, I'd like that to get big.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, like if I did a YouTube channel on, like, I have so many issues with a lot of game review stuff, and also a lot of just video game stuff in general. Then I want to, like, I need to, like, like, I heard Arlo, he's a YouTuber, and he said whenever he has something that he's talking to himself about it in front of the mirror or something, he's like, I have to make a video. And I'm like, wow, that sounds a lot healthier than just what I do, where I just, like, keep having the same conversations in my head over and over again. I mean, it sounds like a lot of work to make a video, though, like a proper video, because you have to, like, write a script and, like, I don't know.
Write a script.
Yeah, like, if you want to do a review of something, like, you want to, like, cover stuff, and, like, you know, to get, like, high quality, you have to put the work in.
High quality.
But, like, why would you not put your full effort in, I guess? But, I don't know, but only a fun amount.
you.